Welcome to the show. Oh yeah. Welcome to the show. Yeah. Okay. Everybody, it's time for the show. 2 count, we about that go. Best in the Midwest, and we up next. Go and ring the bell rep, cause here we go. Comedy meets wrestling. Yeah, we doing our own thing. Squared circle and a microphone. 2 count on everything. Can you smell what we're cooking now? Other shows, they ain't got that style profile. And while we strut, arm raised with 2 fingers up. JR, Big Ace, Tommy 2, they something else. This show be dynamite. Next level, top shelf. I'm like, ah. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Okay. All right. Is JR muted? Just so he's muted. We'll mute him. JR, you're muted. Do your thing.
Yeah, be on the phone.
Yeah.
We should probably just turn off your camera too, you dumb old fuck.
Turn this up a little bit. There we go. Hello, everybody. JR is taking care of business with his Ozark Airline sweatshirt on. Very important flights they're probably talking about.
Important flights, yeah. Oh, he's trying to use a one-handed sign language. I got that too. One-handed sign language for you, JR.
That's just what your hand does when you get old. You can't control it.
You just
crazy. Yeah, welcome to the show. I guess
Crown Jewel BC. What? Look at this. Look at this. If that really is Chase, welcome to the show. We always appreciate you being here. Everybody appreciates everybody being here, but it's Chase, man. You gotta fucking respect Chase.
Yeah,
he's probably a little bit disappointed this last week, though. I'll be honest with you. Huh? How about them Packers? Can't quite make the full comeback there. Who cares? It's early in the season. I'm sure the Vikings will find some other way to piss away a win later on. JR, you got to unmute yourself.
Does he actually have to?
I'm unmuted now.
Yeah, because well.
Aren't I?
You are, sir. You are. How was everybody's week?
So far, well, up until this this quick moment here, everything's been going well. People may be wondering, people may be curious about what my choice might be. And I'm still on the phone. I'm still making some
Shut
decisions.
up, JR. We got bigger things than this. Look at this. Badger Calhoun's in the chat as well. Not only do we got
Badger
Owens, but we got Badger Calhoun in the chat enjoying the new ticker. Oh my God. Can't wait to come back. No kidding. And the great and powerful Malice is here as well, everybody.
Nice.
Yeah, actually, you know what, Chase? By the way, we can't wait to have you back on, man. We're going to plan to have Whitney tomorrow because she's a super mark all of a sudden. So we'll talk more about that next week with her. So, but yeah, this is a great start to the show. All right, say, Jerry, I'm sorry, you were saying something about you finally picking somebody. Is it going to be Mott? It's probably going to be Mott because you don't know anybody else.
Let's just not get into it. We have a lot of different things. Ace, you're muted.
Yeah, make some elaborate.
He's not trying to pick Mock because we ain't trying to have a murder.
I'm not trying to. Here's what's going to happen.
You don't fuck with Mock. We all know this.
Oh, what? I'm sorry. What is he going to try and do? A leg drop and like land on Bryce's head? Good luck. Good luck.
Tom, you're the only one.
All I'm gonna say is I've narrowed it down. I may have to take another phone call to make sure that everything is going to work out the way I want it to. But Bryce Jordan's going to have to bring an extra pair of wrestling trunks with him to Rochester because I got a feeling he's going to have to change them.
Whatever. Listen, Bryce is not scared of anybody because you know why? He's Team Top Shelf, baby. Oh,
what also say,
Dummy Dan, check it in, Dummy Dan.
Hey Dan, good to see you. What I also say,
and Chase are probably wallowing in their tears right now, being those Packer fans and everything like that they are.
Want to say it was also a great week because it was just announced that the comedy show before the No Mixer in Rochester has been announced. Get to work
with
question. Tom.
We'll cover that a little bit
later. D'Angelo Funches, if you don't know him, he's very funny. And so the three of us, plus Timmy Nella, plus Big Ace will be there. And we hope that you'll come and join us at Townies in Rochester.
Well, there's at least two of those people that, I can't stand all the time. Probably three of you. I can't stand all the time.
You don't have to be a puss the whole show, Tom.
A puss, sir. First of all.
There it is.
That's a great graphic. It totally covers up Ace's face. All right.
Yeah. Also, hey, I don't know, pay close attention to that specialty beer. I wonder what it could be. Anyways, it's going to be a hell of a night. It's going to be a hell of a weekend. It's like kind of like a Madhouse weekend takeover with the 2 count of Rochester. We're going to fuck shit up. So, and also, guys, this is the first time where we're actually doing a show, but tied to this show, we are going to finally marquee JR and Top Shelf's true skill for the world, and that is their stand-up comedy routines. No, both of these guys are hilarious. I've seen it with my own eyes. I was there when JR broke in at the very early open mic days in Goonies. So
don't admit that you're that old there, Ace. Come on, man.
Bro. I know, but it's gonna and I know of D'Angelo. I've heard a deal about D'Angelo, so I'm pumped to see this guy. And I'm pumped that me and Rochester's best tag team, me and my boy Timmy Nella, are your hosts.
Yeah, D'Angelo actually went to Alaska with me. And we had a great time. So you guys will just love him. He's good shit.
Good to have mid-level Tina in here, I guess.
Well, okay. I'm trying to send social media stuff out, guys. I'm sorry, but
it's okay.
Should we get into the show though? Let's get it.
Yes, let's do it.
We got a great guest. We got a great topic we're going to talk about with this guest. Plus, we got some business this weekend with this guest. I don't know why there's issues with him and Mr. Top Shelf over here. Someday, maybe that will come out into the light, into the public. For like 2 years, you ask either one of them, and there's no answer. I don't know what it's about, but hopefully they'll just be civil today. JR and I always are happy to welcome him here to the show. Yeah. Absolute Pro Wrestling's very own Jason Prentice.
Awesome to see the boss.
The boss.
I mean, JR, it would be awesome to see the boss, but you never go to Absolute shows, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, man.
That's the thing. As much shit as Tom talks, at least he's showing up. Well, payday or not, JR.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't leave the house for less than $200, so let's talk.
Or like, $200 in food would work.
I think honestly, he just doesn't want to go to Waterloo because he knows that Bryce Jordan has a lot of family there, and he doesn't want to deal with that.
No, it isn't it. Honestly, I would love to be able to get to one of your shows. And as things are sort of slowing down a little bit for me with comedy, I might have a weekend or two where I can come down when you guys are doing some stuff.
Well, maybe you should come down July of 2025.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we'll talk about it.
Okay. Oh, he's trying to be all
Are you
cryptic,
hinting?
everybody. Give it up
Are
to
you
the boss
hinting?
for being
'Cause
cryptic.
that's big news. But
There's no
Yeah.
news. It's just if people are smart, maybe there will be news soon enough. So
Well,
if I wanted to be cryptic, I'll get on Twitter and talk my shit.
No, hold on. See,
we do. Yeah,
no,
Chase needs to get up here into one of these
Yeah,
shows
we need-
to represent, but it needs
we
to
need
happen.
to have Chase Owens on a show sometimes because he doesn't live all that far away. We talk about Absolute, always sending guys down to Tennessee. Prentice, you're a Tennessee guy, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
Why can't we get the crown jewel to come up to Iowa?
If it makes sense.
Especially if you're trying to be cryptic about July and shit like that, and we're not talking about the crown jewel. I'm telling you right now, that needs to fucking happen. All right. I'm putting my foot down. All right. As commentator for Absolute Pro Wrestling, I'm putting my fucking foot down, man. We need to get Chase Owens somewhere into Iowa.
It's something that we can talk about, Tom. Something that we can actually
That would
talk
be
about.
in order for that, you two have to be civil, and I'm not.
We are
sure.
civil.
So what's
I
going
think-
on with you two guys anyway?
Sorry about that.
You know
Sorry about
what?
that. Do that. I'm
Get-
sorry about
get-
that, Chase.
Okay, so first off, love San Antonio, great spot. But you notice, Tom, right away, JR's just stirring a pot. Stirring a
Of
pot.
course he is.
Stirring a pot. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. JR.
I'm very
What?
curious to know myself, though. I really am.
And then you got Ace. And you got Ace just stirring the goddamn pot. What's the beef between you two? It is what
Every
it is.
time we do a show, we're very civil, okay?
We
tell
put our
you
shit to the
nice.
side.
And then he says something, I say something back. It's really not going to solve itself tonight, guys, okay? We're not going to talk about it. Jason knows what he's done. I know what I've done. Let's just leave it at that. Why do you guys need to pry into our fucking business all of a sudden, okay?
Every time. Now, you know what? Now I get why Bryce kicked you in the dick. I get it.
Hey, now.
The co-hosts need to know
Hey,
what's
man.
happening with Tom. Shut the fuck up.
They're talking like there's some baby oil involved or something. Diddy stuff.
Whoa,
Anyways,
whoa,
we have
Diddy.
more important things to talk
Big
about.
Diddy
Yes.
Ace, just
And
calm
we're going to
down
get
there,
into
buddy.
it. And the big thing is, we got our good friend Prentice on here, and we're going to talk about something that's very popular right now. And we're gonna dive in and give you 2 counts thoughts on the Vince McMahon documentary from Netflix. But first, again, business going down Saturday night.
Absolute Pro Wrestling is back in Algona at Floral Hall October 5th with this mega card. In women's action, Sadie Bell comes to town to face off against the returning Briar Hale. Hale looks to overcome the young and brash Southern Belle, while Sadie looks to knock off one of the best in the Midwest. Jackson Slater makes his Algona debut against a new fan favorite in Algona, Cash Kennedy. Slater may have to overcome the haters as Cash proves to be king. The 319 crew defends their newly won tag team championships against the Free World. Jay Wesley and Ethan Everhart are out to prove their win was no fluke in Waterloo, as the Free World's Jackson King and Leo Santel vow to bring gold back to their leader, Matty Starr. Victor Payne is in action against another fan favorite, Alvin Falcone. Payne looks to continue his momentum into his upcoming cage match in Waterloo, Iowa, while Falcone looks to gain a victory and possible opportunity at a title match down the road. The big picture has reigned supreme with the Openweight Championship since May, but he now faces his toughest opponent yet. James Jeffries is undefeated in Absolute Pro Wrestling and aims to keep it that way while obtaining gold. Can the Midwest legend knock off Godzilla? Bryce Jordan is in singles action against Ugly. These two have yet to square off in an APW ring, as Jordan is looking to get back on his feet after losing his half of the APW tag title, and Ugly seeks to gain a victory versus one of the top stars in the company. In the main event, this match is for all the marbles and features 2 of the best going toe-to-toe. This match is for the APW Championship, and it will be contested inside a steel cage. It's the Death Dealer challenging the champion, Aaron Von Baron. Will the Baron's reign of terror continue, or will death cometh for the championship? It's APW Rage in the Cage, October 5th in Algona. Be there!
Nice promo, man.
There it
Gotta
is.
be there. Gotta be there. Yeah, this is one of the biggest shows that we're going to produce in Algona, possibly ever. our ticket reserves is one of the best we've ever done in Algona. Obviously, when you're talking about a steel cage main event, there's a lot of interest to it. We have kind of a built-in publicity machine this weekend. We have the Band-Aid Fair, the Band-Aid Parade that's coming here. And basically what it is there's all these bands in Iowa coming to Algona, Iowa, and APW is going to be in that parade. We got Bryce Jordan coming in. We also got Briar Hale, Jay Wesley. They're going to be in the parade. We're going to be talking with people and showcasing what APW is all about and letting people know, hey, that same night you can come watch a steel cage match. And it's just been a tremendous response to the show thus far. I like creating stuff like what you just saw, and we got another video package that'll come out later this week for next weekend in Waterloo. Although I had to remove myself from that because I don't know if you know this or not, some of us are wrestling next weekend for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, what's your problem, by the way, with Cole Cannon? I mean, what's the deal? Yeah, it's an okay card. I think Matty Star, or Matty Star would be a good idea.
Needs more Matty.
What's your deal? What's your deal? No Matty Star. You got the other bit of free world.
Which question do you want me to answer first? You want me to talk about Matty, or you want me to talk about Cole?
I mean, first of all, I want to know what the hell your deal is. Okay,
you've seen it. Come on, you've seen it, Tom. You saw.
You talk too much.
Started,
you know the answer. I got
this started back in March at the Winter Brawl Classic. We.
You fired the man for no reason. He's got kids.
Cole Cannon disrespected my grandmother, who passed away last year. I took it out on him in the Battle Royal. I eliminated him. I should have gotten involved. Straight up. Should not have gotten involved. I crossed the line. I admit it. I can do that. But Cole Cannon doesn't have a pair of nuts down there to admit that he messed up too. He couldn't just admit that he messed up and he shouldn't have crossed that line. Instead, what he wants to do is he wants to get on social media and bitch and moan that myself, Shank, anybody that's a part of the team, we cost him. We screwed him over. He lost to Victor Payne. He lost that openweight championship. Couldn't win it back. And then he wants to challenge me to a match. I'm not going to wrestle. He faces James Jeffries. He loses. Blames it on me. He wanted to take a cheap road out. It cost him. And then I had to fire him. He lost. He bet it all, Tom. He bet it all. And that was supposed to be
you fired him because you're just sour about him insulting your grandmother, which I
get. It didn't just. Hey, listen. It didn't just end with her. He brought up my uncle, Bert Prentice.
Well,
who's also deceased. Can I blame him for taking cheap shots at me? I think I can. I think I can say what I want. I get it. He's frustrated, Tom. You would be frustrated too if you lost. If you drop the ball, you might get frustrated. But instead of blaming others, take a look in the mirror and just admit fault. Cole Cannon couldn't do that. Cole Cannon wants to sit there and blame anybody that there is to blame besides himself. And that's what cost him against James.
You know what I've been told is that sometimes you just need to take notes if you're happen to be bad at your job. You should take notes from others. That's what I've been told before. Is that Ace isn't even fucking paying attention. This is goddamn fucking gold. I only got one fucking chuckle out of JR about this shit. Ace is over here like, what? Fucking, he's writing down notes himself right now. God damn it, Ace.
He is. He's taking notes.
When it comes down to short and sweet, when it comes to next week, Cole Cannon, he's gonna get surprised by what I do, man. I think a lot of people look at this matchup. They think that I'm in over my head with this matchup. They think, you know what, you're not a wrestler, and they're not wrong. I'm not a wrestler. I'm just a promoter. I'm just a manager. I'm a guy who, for 12 years I've been in this business. 12 years I've been involved in professional wrestling. However, I have experience. I also have cage experience. I have been inside a steel cage match. I've been on the outside looking in as well. I've had my fair share of experiences in this business. And the one thing is, you want to say I'm a manager, that's fine, Cole. But there's a word inside that word, and I'm a man. I'm a man who is dead set on teaching you a lesson you're never going to forget. I have busted my ass for this camp. I have shed so much baggage off of me, personally, physically, mentally, emotionally. You realize since May of this year, I have dropped 40 pounds, boys. I have dropped so much weight. I have bettered myself mentally, physically, and emotionally. And when I decided to do this match, this camp since August has been phenomenal. I've been in the ring with Justin Decent. I've been in the ring with James Jeffries. I've been practicing. I have been just articulating what I need to do to get the job done. And hey, everyone's got a plan until they get hit in the face. I understand that. And it's going to happen. Cole Cannon's going to kick the shit out of me. It's going to happen. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I'm going to bring the fight to him in a way he's never experienced, in a way he would never think it would happen with a guy like me. And I look forward to this cage match. I look forward to getting my pound of flesh, just like I said, Tom. Just like I said.
It's a lot of talk, man. Like seriously.
And that's all he's done. That's all he's done for the last how many freaking months? That's all he's done.
Listen.
He sits at home. Listen, his wife and his daughter are going to have daddy at home for far longer than just 4 months after I'm done with him. That's how convinced I am that I can do what I need to do to get the job done. I will go past the point of no return, Tom. I will.
Let me ask you a question then. If you said you trained with James Jeffries and Justin Decent, did Justin Decent give you any chops? Was that part of training or no?
Justin has gone through a lot of things with me.
Yeah, but did he give you any chops? Did he give you any chops?
Who says I didn't give Justin chops?
I'm asking if you got a Justin Decent, Daddy Decent chop. That's all I'm asking, brother.
He's trying to get married. Yeah,
I have one in me. Tom, I tell you what, I can give you one at the show this weekend. You can compare if you'd like.
I'm not asking for any chops. What I'm asking is, was your training as vicious and brutal as it needed to be? Because if you didn't get any decent chops, it wasn't as brutal as it needed to be. Okay, I'm just letting you know.
The training was as physical as it needed to be. It was as practical as it needed to be.
So that's a no.
And
hey, Whitney's here. Where's Whitney McAllister over there? Whitney McAllister, good job getting on WWE television. Sorry, I just gotta let her know that we all saw it. Sort of. I didn't see it last night, but
you saw the replays.
I saw the replays. All right, Jason. Listen, here's the deal. You're talking a little too much for me. It's hard to follow you. So let's get to some points though about this weekend and next weekend and stuff like that. Here's the biggest question, right? So thankfully you're giving Free World what should be theirs anyways, a title opportunity and straight title opportunity. You know, you're not trying to shove it in some other tag team like you did there in Waterloo to appease the idiot fans of Jay Wesley and Ethan Everhart, mostly their family members, by the way. So Free World is finally going to get their tag opportunities here. I can guarantee you right now, I don't think Jay and Ethan have it in them. What do you think? Tell me I'm wrong.
So I think that if you thought it was to appease Jay Wesley fans, if you think that's the reason why Ethan and Jay got in that match, I think you're full of shit, Tom, because you obviously didn't hear what Bryce Jordan was saying. Bryce Jordan said put him in the match. I did exactly what Bryce said. And Bryce got upset with me after the fact, after they lost the match, and so did Shank. You see it on our YouTube channel. If you haven't, you can go watch it right now. They got upset with me. There was shit pushing and shoving that wasn't really needed. There was a discussion afterwards. Cooler heads prevailed, but I put them in the match because that's what was asked to do. And I respect Bryce. I respect Shank. I'm going to give them what they want. I gave them what they wanted. It turned out they didn't really want it that much after they lost. It is what it is.
Yeah, but why are you trying to mess the team top shelf? And the board.
Hey, you're sitting there talking about guys being inserted, and you're talking about guys who deserve a title shot. Wouldn't your boys deserve a title shot? Don't you think they should be inserted in this one? I mean, they almost were. There was a discussion at one point, with Bryce and Shank. I talked to them. I said, "You want to do it again in Algona? We could do it again in Algona." But they're waiting. They're biding their time. They know when to pick their moment, and they know with Bryce's opportunity coming up, they don't want to risk things because they know how that match would go. That tag match is going to be physical, one of the most physical things they would have to do. So they're biding their time. I don't blame them. They're not afraid. They're being tactical, and I like it. Point is going back to your question, 319 versus the Free World. I think the 319 has their hands full. I think that Leo Santel and Jackson King are riding a high right now. Even in a loss in Des Moines, Leo Santel, I think, looked as sharp as ever. I think that Jackson King is riding a lot of momentum. He's got a lot of buzz in his ear. He's got a lot of people telling him how pretty he looks and how good he looks and how great he is. I don't think he's going to get too full of himself, but I think you add the egos in. I think you add the confidence in. I think the free world with Matty Starr at the helm, they're dangerous any day of the week. But I think when it comes to Saturday night, I think we'll see what 319 is made of, and I think you're going to see them retain.
Right. So here's Clinton Dye's question for you then too. When are we getting Bryce Jordan versus Jay Wesley?
Clint,
just name a date. I don't need to hear a whole backstory about this. Just give us a date. When is it on the books?
Clint and JR just stirring pots tonight. That's all they're doing.
Well, that's what they have to do because, Clint's not nearly as old as Jay. Actually, he's not even as old as myself,
Ace,
Big Ace. But like,
Ace, you got a question since this J Brown just wants to keep picking at the bear?
Dude, I'm excited.
You're the bear. Ooh, okay, now
I'm excited for the show because it's been a minute. It feels like we haven't been doing an absolute show for a little while. It's been a little bit of a gap, so I'm excited to get back to it. You know me, sir. I am a big Alvin Falcone fan. Excited to see that guy. But again, cage match. This is the first time that I'm ring announcing inside of a cage. I've never had to do that. So, yeah, man, I'm excited. And in all fairness, Cole did sneak into the show when he wasn't supposed to be there. So he kind of deserves to get his ass kicked. So I'm in for it. So I'm excited to see Cole get carried out like he did when he was fired, because that was hilarious. Dude was a baby about it.
Why all this hate all of a sudden against Cole Cannon? He was one of our best guests that we've had on the 2 Count. I love the dude, man. I mean, he's a ball of energy. Now I like his enthusiasm, but him and I also have our differences and our issues and stuff like that, which maybe I'll cover another time. But I mean, Cole Cannon is a great athlete. All he's done is provide entertainment for the masses through Absolute Pro Wrestling. You're welcome, Jason Prentice. You're welcome.
Listen, let's. I want to touch on something that just got brought up. You guys bring up Alvin Falcone, and they're talking about, they want to see him against more bad guys in an APW ring because it's rough. It's rough seeing him go one-on-one with a good guy. Let me tell you, I think anybody Alvin faces is an opportunity for him in any given situation in an APW ring. Facing off against Victor Payne is a big opportunity for Alvin Falcone right now because Victor is a former and longest reigning openweight champion. Victor is also one of the guys fighting in that fatal 4-way for the APW championship inside a steel cage next week. So while you can sit there and say comments like that, I think you also have to look at the bigger picture and say, okay, if Alvin wins, what does that do for him going forward? That's a pretty big amount of hill climbing for him. So
Victor's
broader,
huge match for Alvin.
Big picture wise, I guess if you want to say big picture, pun intended, big picture wise for Alvin Falcone could lead to a lot more opportunities in a match like this. So while I appreciate the comment of, I want to see him beat the crap out of some of these douchebags a little more than the good guys that I like, also realize there's a reason why we're doing matchups like this. Even Ugly against Bryce Jordan. That's another matchup you wouldn't see anywhere else, really. Maybe you see it in Madhouse because maybe that guy up there, JR, is going to pick that guy. Because I heard that on the DL recently. That might be an option.
Yeah. You did pay attention to last week's show, didn't you? Where JR got the offer from Malice to pick Bryce Jordan's opponent for the Rochester show on November 9th. JR, any more insights to this? I mean, Prentice is throwing out Ugly as a name. Have you contacted Ugly?
It's a great name. I'm not going to let anything slip. I still have a couple things.
JR did message me privately and said that he's keeping an eye on Algona. So
of course he is. Yeah.
I said
he's going to select you as Bryce's opponent.
Maybe you would.
Here's the deal. We have that announcement. We're ending tonight's show with JR's pick. That is how it's going to end tonight. That's what was promised last week. Whitney, first of all, we can't wait to have you on the show next week. Also, I'm going to put her on blast. Just so then you all can give her shit if she fucking, just in case she ends up not coming, then you all can give her shit because Also, the last time you said you were coming, Malice did get cake and a girl in a wheelchair for you, and you didn't show. But Whitney, as of right now, says she's coming in November to the Madhouse show. But
now hold on. Now, is she
my
show up
other
early
question,
enough?
hang on though. My other question though is, how quick did it take for security to come and grab you?
That's true. That's a good question for
Probably,
Whitney there.
it's probably like, oh, that's Whitney McAllister. Well, let's go ahead and let her just hang.
Well, so here's a question then. We got Chase who threw this out to Whitney, my future ex-wife. So Whitney, who is it? Is it Chase Owens? Is it going to be Jey Uso? Who's going to be the next Mr. McAllister? No, I'm just fucking with you. That's so weird.
But yeah, no, this is. I missed
That's
Raw
so
last night at Whitney, so waking up today and seeing the WWE post of his intro and you two like doing the handshake fucking cracked me up so hard this morning. I was so happy for you. It was hilarious.
Well, this is also Whitney, who a few years ago when she was the SummerSlam shocked girl for that 1 year, not last year, but the year before, she got all panicked and got kind of weird about it. So I'm just asking Whitney, like, you sit so close to the ring, you sit there on the barricade. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, don't answer that.
Yeah.
Answer that next week when you're here.
Yeah. Oh, there's a line that's right here on the fucking.
One last thing though, for Prentice about this show that I do want to bring up is Sadie Bell, newcomer. Yep. Saw her first time at the fair show we did in Algona. Very impressed. Be interesting to see the future, but that's another big matchup for a newcomer right there, taking on Briar Hale, who is currently half tag team champion in 2 different companies. This is a huge task for the newcomer. I'm excited to see what Sadie Bell can do.
Can I interject one thing here? By the way, Briar Hale, also part of Team Top Shelf. I'm just letting that know.
Until the twins say it verbally, it's not believed.
Whatever. We talked about it at the Ironheart Force show in Rosemount, dude. If you were there, you would have known.
We already said this last week.
Prentice, you have a question to answer? Go ahead.
I really didn't hear the question besides what I guess what is it about Sadie Bell going in this matchup? With Sadie, it is a big opportunity. You talk about facing a champion in 2 different companies. It's a first-time matchup in APW between the 2. And the last time she was in Algona, Sadie Bell, she wasn't well received by the Algona fans. Whereas, Briar Hale, people love her in Algona. People really enjoy seeing her compete. And I think that this go around, when I talked with Briar about doing this matchup, she was kind of licking her chops because she's like, all right, let's see what she's made of. Let's see what Sadie Bell is all about. These 2 have come across each other in I do believe Nebraska before. They've come across each other in different companies, but one-on-one very infrequently. So they're facing each other on Saturday night, and I think for our women's matches that we've had thus far, I think this is one of the more intriguing ones, and it really could tell a good story for Sadie Bell if she's able to walk away with a victory over a very experienced and one of the best champions that we have here in the Midwest right now.
Yeah, dude, I'm so excited to get back to work with Absolute. You guys got to be there.
Well, here's a question. Right? Not to interrupt JR because I know he was, almost falling asleep there like he normally does. This main event.
Yeah.
The Death Dealer. I mean, he's been after this for a long, long time.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know if he remembers exactly how vicious and brutal Aaron Von Baron was to actually get the title.
You realize
how much blood? I mean, how much? I got a question. How much blood are you gonna have to pay to get out a TS's ring? All right, like there's just a lot of blood that's gonna be happening in this match, right?
You realize these guys and their history goes back 10 years plus. Aaron Von Baron was the first singles match the Death Dealer ever had in his career. We're talking Ray Fearing in 2013 against Aaron Von Baron. And at that point in their careers, they were both so young in the business. And now we're talking about 2 very well-traveled wrestlers two men who have seen it all. They have gone through some of the top names in this business in the Midwest, even, and they've had a lot of opportunities go their way. And so both men, in my opinion, are very deserving of that championship. And whoever walks away the winner is just going to represent our company going forward with the best of intent. And I think everyone will respect them as I do. AVB already. You know, some people call him Aaron Von Ruthless, as Tom has said in the past. He's been
No,
Aaron
I said
Von
Aaron
Brutal.
Von Brutal. That was
Brutal,
me.
yeah. That was another one. But
Do you know how many times I have to wash my head after your shows when we have an Aaron Von Baron match? Because
I can only imagine.
my head
Sweat
is
is.
soaked from that stupid headband that's soaked in sweat. Ugh.
Yeah.
Hey,
So,
Victor Payne. Hell
yeah.
yeah.
So as far as answering your question, how much blood, buckets and buckets, I can imagine between both men. I mean, my God, they're two of the most dominating forces colliding, you know, on Saturday night. So it's an opportunity. I mean, I talked about it on Facebook today. Aaron hasn't lost since coming back in March. The Death Dealer hasn't lost a match in Algona ever for Absolute Pro Wrestling. So someone's got to lose Saturday night. And I think now that all the demons from the Death Dealer's past have come and gone, and Aaron Von Baron has gotten through that short challenge with Bryce Jordan in Des Moines, he knows, both of these guys know that next week there's another steel cage match lurking in the background. But they're both focused solely on Saturday night in Algona at Floral Hall. So what's guaranteed is this is a must-see event, and this is a must-see main event.
There it is. Rage in the Cage, brought to you by Cook's Scrap Iron and a Metal. It's gonna be
Along with Pabst and all the other Algona sponsors. By the way, you guys see this, right? That's Victor Payne right there admitting to being team top shelf.
Well, he didn't have to admit it. We broke that news after the last Absolute show that we were at.
Oh,
so
I
that
believe
one
it.
was already public knowledge. Anyways, tickets
We go
on
from
sale.
the boss of APW
Hang on.
to another
JR,
boss.
JR, stop for 1 second.
No, I'm tired. I'm tired of fucking dicking around.
Get your tickets, be there for that, and then right after Double Shot cage matches, first time ever, so why not 2 weeks in a row? And this one's in Waterloo at the Cedar Valley Sportsplex. It's going to be all kinds of fun. Now, JR.
We go from the boss of APW to another boss that made huge news last week, and that is, of course, Mr. McMahon. Did you happen to watch everybody?
Yeah, I mean,
So,
Whitney, get in on this in the chat, because we're not going to ask you about this next week. We're going to talk different shit. So, and everybody else in the chat, let us know what you thought. We're going to just kind of talk about it, talk about some key takeaways, maybe anything that surprised us. I have to say, as a wrestling fan, as a hardcore fan, I would hope the three of you agree. There wasn't a whole lot in this that we all didn't already know.
right.
Yeah.
And having lived through most of it, I was absolutely, to be honest, kind of shocked that there wasn't, because it was it's going to be this big expo. There was nothing. No, I don't think there was one thing that I didn't already know about.
Episode 1, JR, there was one thing I don't think anybody ever really knew about. At least I didn't know about it. But when he talks about Gorilla Monsoon,
yeah,
and says that Gorilla was Senior's second in command, and that Gorilla almost was going to be the next guy in line to take over the company.
Yeah.
And he saw Vince's competition. He goes, yeah, he had all the right to think that, because I am. Like, I never knew. Could you imagine if Gorilla would have been the next?
Everything would have been different.
Absolutely.
We would have probably still had territories, or like AWA may have been the one
same old,
coming out of this. Like, realistically, I'll be honest with you. Most of the 6 episodes, and this is my just opening point, was very boring because of how much it touched on history. But that is to get a base for everybody who is not a wrestling fan.
Correct.
And I understand that, but as far as all of us go, I would say that the vast majority of it was very, very boring. There's even a couple episodes, as far as fans go, hard to watch based on the fact of like, okay, but are we actually talking about Vince McMahon here or just WWE at the time?
Well,
I do like Victor's comment here, by the way. Yeah,
yeah.
that threw me
Oh, and
for
we're
a
gonna
real-
we're gonna
I
get
was like,
into that. I think one of the bigger hot takes in this whole fucking documentary is the CTE subject. So we're gonna get into that as well. I was more shocked by how the ass kissing actually did stop when the allegations were brought to light by the end of the series. You know, I think, like, here's the deal. Like, we all know Vince is a piece of shit, right? Can we all admit this? We all knew this. Like, that's why, and I wouldn't say it was boring. Like, I was still, as a wrestling fan, like, interested to see this. And there were things that, like the Owen, I think they showed a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I guess I never realized how big of a blood stain was on the actual mat, and that's probably because they did a really good job of scrubbing those images away before we could see them. And in that time, it was easier because the internet wasn't a deal. But seeing those shots and seeing the wrestlers, seeing talent, like, because here's the deal, right? If this happened at an indie show, if this happened at a show we're all at and working, and this is someone we know. First of all, I think it's safe to say show's over, right? We're done. Because personally, how are any of us expected to move on, let alone have to be walking and rolling in this stained, big-ass red circle that is the blood of Owen Hart?
I mean,
there's just no way. I couldn't. If it was one of you guys that happened to, and then they're like, show goes on, get out there. As soon as I'm in that and I see that, I'm done. I'm broken. Like, I would not be able to hold. I would break down crying. Like, it's just, there's no way. Because I'm a human being. With emotions. And I love the people that I associate myself with. You know what I mean? And with Owen being such a well-received guy in the back of that locker room, that is a hard pill to swallow. And I get what he said on why they chose to do what they did. And, you know, if the fans would have maybe actually seen it. But I think also we've all been to shows, right? And the big thing is when they do the blackout moments, when you're in the arena, you still see what's going on for them.
I mean, that's a big ball of blue falling from the ceiling, man. I mean, you can't miss that, no matter how dark it is in that ring and stuff like that, or in that arena. But you know, like, I can't believe it had the show the next night. Whitney, I gotta ask, how does Vince get 2 on a scale of 10 as a person? Just gotta ask that question. But I think it's interesting too. You know, like as you mentioned, like as far as like accidents or situations like that. How is that match? I know it's not for a title or what. I don't think it was, maybe IC title, I guess. Actually, yeah, for a Godfather versus Blue Blazer for the IC. But if you have a spot like that, right? Like I think back to the New Jack Vic Grimes match, right? The scaffolding match where that's so high up there, and then New Jack had the plan of just throwing him off there. I mean, we've all heard that from like Dark Side of the Ring, where the ring announcer gets out there and all of a sudden like, show's over, everybody, you gotta get out of the building. It's like, holy shit, man! Like, I mean, it's totally different as far as the level of people and everything like that too. But like, that's a good point there. Okay. But I just think like that's so hard to come back from, and you know, even Whitney saying like, yeah, the show the next night. I mean, the ending of that show, we got Stone Cold coming out there and then putting the one beer down. That was probably, in my mind, looking back at it, one of the harder things. And they didn't even show that in the documentary, but
I agree, Whitney. I agree.
I would say a couple other takeaways from me. Mm-hmm. Number one, I remember the interviews that Vince did where he got pissy. And I remember them not nearly as intense as they were. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
History fades that shit away. He was an asshole to Bob Costas.
Yeah.
And then the other part of it, and this was kind of a revelation to me because I was not privy to New York newspapers. To me, the hero of that documentary is Phil Mushnick, because he was not kissing ass. he was trying to bring the shit that was bad to light. And to me, that was probably a good thing.
Hey, Prentice, what's in your background, by the way? I'm getting this like weird waffle, like woof, woof.
Shouldn't have anything. Shouldn't have anything. All I got is this.
It's JR.
It's not JR. I mean, it would match his background better, but I just
it would actually, man. It fucking
Mike
look like
there.
he's fucking flying.
That's better. A little bit.
I want another thing too that I thought was interesting. This one's a small one, but Vince, Vince taking credit for naming WrestleMania when, if you watch the WWE produced and Vince approved WrestleMania documentary that was released, I don't know, 8-10 years ago, Howard Finkel is actually the man who came up with the name WrestleMania. And I think that little thing alone in this Netflix documentary really did show where it's like he is super oblivious to anything in the past and anything that really was going on around him, because again, it was always it's me, I'm doing this. Because those are those little things where it's like, hey, let's be real honest, you had a team around you, and I've never really heard you give any of them credit. You had fucking Finkel working around you. You had Pat Patterson around you. You had Jerry Briscoe around you. You had Tony Gurria around you backstage. You had all these guys that did a lot of the shit that you put into motion. Show them some love. Just a little bit. It wouldn't have killed you. Instead to just be like, I named WrestleMania.
It could have possibly killed him at that point. And this was pre-2021 when most of his interviews were done. So it could have possibly killed him at that point if you would have given credit to anybody. Like, people are saying Triple H is running shit around here. Just falls over. Somehow grows that stupid Walt Disney mustache again, just real fucking quick like that.
Do you guys think that documentary kind of, and I'm not saying I agree or disagree, but do you feel like it maybe kind of put Shane in a more sympathetic view?
100%. Prentice, why don't you go ahead? You're the guest. You give
first. So I kind of like what Whitney was saying. You kind of feel bad when you get treated so shitty by your parentals. Vince, they allude to things being done to him as a kid by his mom and her husband. And like, if you went through all these terrible experiences, why the hell would you subject your kids to those same experiences? People talk about, well, it's a cycle. It's a cycle. Some people can't escape that cycle. Some people, and I just sit there and I have people in my family who, well, my mom was an alcoholic, so that's why I'm an alcoholic. I understand you go through shit, but if you can't try and even take a path or try to correct that cycle, knowing full well that is some messed up stuff to do to your kids, I can't. It blows my mind to think that's the process for Vince. But yeah, like Shane, all I wanted was that hug. And they've shown that clip before, but when they go into it with Shane and he's actually talking about it and everything that it meant to him, and I don't think it did a whole lot for Stephanie, because they even bring up Mike Tyson and the rape allegations going into Mania 13. I don't think it did as much for Stephanie as it did for Shane. I think they tried. I think those in charge of the edit floor, they tried to make Stephanie a little kind of on the same level as Shane towards the end, when they talk about her resigning and really not wanting anything to do with the company at the end there. But I think it did a lot for Shane and showed a lot of what the kids both had to go through.
I agree 100%. Like, it was pretty heartbreaking watching Shane talk about his interactions with Vince after that match at 32 with Taker, and how he was just basically like, that's all I ever wanted. And it is. I mean, it puts a lot of light on that absence. Like everybody, I think we all as fans were like, man, Shane, like Stephanie was it, but Shane was there from the beginning. We all remember Shane. I mean, even at the screw job, Shane was one of the guys in suits that was out there. Like, I mean, clear as day. Like they said in there, refereed, did announce all this stuff. And literally, you hear him talk about it. Like, I had to stand out. So I had to do these things. And he did some of the craziest spots that we'll ever see to this day still. Like, no one else in those days was jumping off the Jumbotron. But the owner's son's like, I'll do it because
except for Hawk.
I want I want dad to love me. So yeah, 100%. This thing ended up being, and then it shed a little bit more light on Vince's upbringing and his whole past, and just really does put a lot more. I mean, I think that's the thing. You always heard the stories about how Vince was so just delusional when it came to anything outside of WWE, right? Like the story of he didn't think using burrito in his script was a good thing to do because he didn't think that it was he didn't realize everyone in the world knows what a fucking burrito is, and that they had to tell him this at the office. Like, everyone knows what a burrito is. You know what I mean? And you see this, and that brings me to my next point. And I don't know if you, John, if you had anything to touch on the Shane stuff, but that brings me to the next spot, and you can say anything if you want, but my next thing is the CTE thing. So did you have anything to elaborate on the Shane stuff?
Did you say JR or John?
You, JR already kind of brought that.
Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna mute you, Princess. I think you got some background music.
Are we picking up like a CV?
I don't know. Sorry. Go ahead, Princess.
It is. I know what it is. It's my cat snoring.
I love it.
I can't make this shit up.
Snoring?
Oh, I love it. Oh, kidding.
Lenny. Come here, Len. Come here. I'll get her. Hold on.
Fair enough. But
mine goes under the table and does that. So
I think the stuff with Shane, like here's what's hard for me when I was watching that, right? Like, to know your father's still alive and does not want to respect or like, your due is hard for me because I did comedy much later after my father, like 10 years or so after my father passed away is when I started doing comedy. So, and like even my grandfather wasn't around when I started doing comedy. So to even not have like the idea of a male figure being proud of you, that's, I think, very heartbreaking for me. And especially with, they touched on 32 and then they went back and they talked about King of the Ring with Kurt Angle and stuff and like what he put his body through there. They didn't even touch about the Jumbotron stuff with like Blackman. But I mean, that's some stuff where, yeah, he's always put himself in the line of fire for all this stuff. And to not get that respect and adulation, I mean, that's why he even mentioned like, he didn't like the stuff with Trish and his mom being like comatose because he is, I mean, but I was saying, if you're getting love from one of the parents and not the other, I mean, you're going to go where you're feeling the most love. I mean,
and here's the deal. It's not, even if it's storyline, it can't be easy as a grown man to, yeah, no one is mad anymore. It's a kitty. To watch your father stick his tongue down the likes of Trish Stratus's throat, Sable's throat, and then just turn around and say, it's storyline. We're acting.
Well, yeah, Vince, he just basically showed at the end there, Vince kissed like Candice Michelle, Tori, Stacy, Sable. And I'm sure he probably kissed Don Marie or something like that too, like.
Well, then when you talk, whatever. What's CTE first? Then we'll get into the sexual stuff. CTE first, because that was probably my biggest thing, is hearing. First of all, hearing Stone Cold say he don't buy into the CTE thing was just like, oh fuck, that hurts a little bit, and I love you. Why did you just say that, brother? I fucking love you, but science has proven there's no is this real. Science has proven, and we've seen the effects. We've seen Junior Seau. We've seen what Chris Benoit did. All these were CTE related. They said Benoit had the brain of like a fucking 7-year-old when they did that autopsy. His finishing move was a headbutt off the top rope. And Vince's casual just, he never got hurt. He never. Motherfucker, we all know that some of this shit hurts. That you guys, Mr. Prentice, you are in a cage match Saturday. You're going to more than likely, 2 weeks. You're more than likely going to kick Cole Cannon's ass, but win or lose, you're going to feel it that next day. There's no lie about that. You will admit that.
Well, hell, I mean, I've gotten a concussion in a match before. Like, it just blew my mind because, like you said, it's one of the most polarizing figures, and people that were like, God, I love this guy. He comes out and says something so stupid. I don't believe in it. You got to be sloppy. You're just not a good worker if you're getting hurt. Well, Steve, if people are getting hurt, what's that called? What is it that they're getting, Austin? Like, just use your head. Maybe it's the CT talking. I don't know. But, Steve it really broke my heart a little bit when he's like, I don't believe in it. And he's welcome to have that opinion, but it's been proven, like you said, in many sports athletes. It's why it's still discussed. And obviously the company feared, or maybe they think, maybe Vince's logic was, we're going to just appease people and bring Chris Nowinski in to do all these changes, not using the headshots anymore. And even Taker talking about, and I love Taker, but I was kind of disappointed about it at first. But then, we got over it and it was fine. Well, yeah, no shit, But now you see places like AEW and people say, oh, it's a shaved chair. It's shaved down. The fuck is a shaved chair? The hell you're still showing people. Guys on the indies see that shit, and it doesn't matter if it's shaved or not. You're going to have a guy on the indie see, oh shit, they did that. Let's do that spot next week. Because there are guys who unfortunately think like that. So a lot of the changes that Nowinski talked about in the documentary, they're for the better of the whole business.
Mm-hmm. And that was another thing, dude. To hear Undertaker talk about 30, and I've heard him in multiple interviews talk about this, where I don't remember nothing. We've seen the video when Vince backstage right away says, we need an ambulance, because Taker dropped. And for Vince to come out and say, well, he was emotional. Are you fucking kidding? Like, I got hot watching him say that shit, because I was like, what? Emotion? Motherfucker got dropped on his head. I was there. I watched that match with my own eyes. Fucker 3 minutes in, you could tell he didn't know where he was. That was such a sloppy, shitty match. Then to have the streak get broken, they're lucky the place didn't riot. I mean, I've said this multiple times, but you could hear a pin fucking drop in that stadium when you heard that third hand drop. I've never been in that big of a crowd and had a moment like that.
2 points, Ace. One, Brock was a young up-and-coming superstar that really needed this win. Okay? and 2, the minute Vince is like, I think it was just, psychological. I think he was psychologically, defeated that he had lost that match. You talk about emotion. There's that GIF, emotional damage. I was just thinking that the whole time I'm watching this. Like, Vince, that's your boy. That's your boy. And he's like, nah, fuck him. He was scarred because he had to lay down for a 3 count.
And that's the thing with that is we know how much of a company guy Taker is. We know he knew the streak was eventually going to probably end. We've always heard him in interviews be like, when it's time, it's time. I don't make that call. It's Vince. So, no, it wasn't. No, man. I met him the day before. Like, it was another fucking day for him. He didn't care if he was winning or losing that next night. He was just trying to get done with the meet and greet. Like, bro. And again, you watch it back on TV, you can see no one's home.
You're right, Whitney. He said that he should have lost it probably 2 years earlier to like Edge. Or like when Edge needed more of a push, he should have lost it then, is what he even said. So you're not wrong. You didn't make that up. Go ahead, JR, and I'll finish with the CT, my CTE points.
I was going to say, I will say this about CTs. I believe in it. And I believe that everybody
Joe Hendry.
is different. Yes, I believe in it. Say his name and he appears. Everybody's physiology is different. And so, and I'm not trying to defend Stone Cold,
Maybe.
but
He's United. Yeah.
if he got concussed and then was fine, maybe Benoit's head was different. You know what I'm saying? And because we've all seen Mick Foley take nothing but head shots in that Beyond the Mat. Jesus, that's terrible.
Yeah,
But he seems to be fine.
Well, I think another thing with Benoit, though, and the difference with Benoit and Foley is, so Benoit was also fucked on drugs at that time.
Oh, yeah.
Between the painkillers and the roids. And here's the deal, like, and I don't know, if anyone's never read this book, I highly suggest you get a copy. You fucking read it, because it is, the shit you read in this thing is crazy. It's called Ring of Hell. I cannot remember who the author is, but it's literally the story of Chris Benoit all the way up to the murder. And it covers everything. Breaking into the business, his trainings, the crazy shit they did to him, and like training in the dojo in New Japan. They go through all of this. And the one thing you really see is there was kind of no point of return for him. And the dagger for that really was Eddie Guerrero Patton. Yeah. When that happened, Chris Benoit lost the only like thing that kept him somewhat grounded and could get through to him. And when Eddie passed, he just spiraled. And it's
Kevin Sullivan killed him. We'll never know because Kevin Sullivan's now dead too.
Listen, to touch on that briefly as we're off topic, there was a friend of mine who posted on Facebook, I don't want to hear the day Sullivan died, I don't want to hear anybody say anything related to Benoit, Nancy, Daniel's death today, now that Kevin's dead. I don't want to hear nothing. So there might have been a group message from a Prentice to a Bundy that said, I'm just happy that the murderer of the Benoit family is now at peace, like the rest of the family. There may have been a message, and I may have gotten told "fuck off" by Bundy. So I don't know.
Well, if I would have seen that on social media, I would have posted immediately and been like, "Yeah, he did it." Clearly, I mean, no.
Well, and you know what's funny? I'll tell you what's funny though. Like in that book, Ring of Hell, it actually does cover how the reason Nancy and Chris got together was because Benoit pushed her into his arms.
Sullivan.
Yeah.
And how he was with Nancy at that time.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Again, it is an amazing read. Some of the because also I think another big figure in his life was Brian Pillman, and they talk about how that affected him when Brian died in the book as well. And then it gets up to like the Guerreros, and it's just mental health, drugs, CTE, all this shit, the life of being on the road. I mean, it was just one big fucking pot of shit mixed together, and dude just fucking folded.
Well, and I remember back to when Benoit did that, and like they tried out Chris Jericho to be kind of like WWE mouthpiece on a lot of these things because he was close with Benoit. So what better way of making sure a friend is also saying this stuff? And I felt like Chris Jericho kind of came off in some of those, and you obviously didn't see him in the documentary this time, but as a little bit cold on all that stuff. But and again, you know, Stone Cold mentioned that he had the one, you know, against Owen where he broke his neck too, and he was concussed. But to not believe in it, I mean, lucky you, by the way, too, because, you know, Chris Nowinski literally retired after one concussion, because also when you show, and that's the thing, they showed how Chris Nowinski got his concussion. It had nothing to do with how he wrestled. He literally got sat on by Edge. Like, yeah. And we've seen some of these kind of spots before, even like in our promotions that we work with, where there's just some things that can go wrong. Like, that's just how it goes, right? Now, I've had 6 concussions in my life that I can remember. And I can tell you right now that after every single one, it gets worse and worse and worse. No matter how minor they are, it gets worse and worse and worse. The recovery is much, much longer till you feel anywhere close to normal. But also, I've had migraines far more frequently after the sixth one than I'd ever had before. Like I had a few after the fifth one, but after the sixth one, I had far more migraines. My depression and mental health issues skyrocketed. There's literally times where the migraine hits and then depression, anxiety hit, where all of a sudden I can't do shit for a day. And so there's all that kind of stuff that kind of wears on you. And it's not one of these things where, like you even test for CTE without actually going in and examining the brain physically. At least that's how they said before. But I remember a few years ago, Everson Griffin had that episode where he all of a sudden he pushes his wife or whatever, or knocks her down or whatever, and then he runs out of the hotel or his apartment, and he's running down the street and he's incoherent, and there's all sorts of different things like that. So I'm like, that sounds like early CTE, and you can't really say that, but like, it's just, like that's what you start thinking, because again, Ace mentions like Junior Seau. We know that was one of the first CTE issues, and Chris Nowinski, being who he is, being part of the business, knowing all these things, being a Harvard graduate, going through all this training about what he's seeing like that. Jesus. Anyhow,
well, Dan, we know it's something in Vandy's room. It might be his cat, because it goes away when we mute him. But it's all right. We're good.
Yeah, it's gone away. But no.
When we talk, you don't hear it.
Just like one final thing with concussions, though, they're always tricky. It's never easy. I'm glad that we have protocols now in place for a lot of these wrestlers, sports entertainers to not get hurt. But there's no way that you can say that Bryan Danielson is not going to see some of these effects down the road.
Yeah.
Sting with especially with any guys who have the spinal stenosis, because that also likely you don't get just the spinal stenosis or any kind of spinal neck injury without also probably getting a concussion. A lot of times it has to do with like whiplash or a brunt like strike to the back of the head along with a lot of that stuff. So there's a lot of stuff. Shut up, Whitney. And also shut up, Dan, you dummy. I don't want to hear this stuff, okay? I like very few people, okay? This is why I don't open up, all right? God damn it. But I want to hate everybody.
I want to hate.
You're not doing a good job of it.
Shut up.
Something else they covered too was the ring boy scandal that was going on in there, and how, and I mean, there is a few things like that where you saw back in the day, like things kind of getting covered up. Let's also not forget he helped Superfly get away with murder.
Yes. I'm glad they
allegedly
on that, by the way. And I want to bring up one thing here with even some of that too, right? So Whitney had posted this before up here as far as what are people going to say? Let's see.
Oh yeah. What will people say when he's dead? Hit like his staff.
Yeah, like
there were a lot more is going to come out.
Because again, they pretty much finished this with all the interviews they did before the 2022 allegations and him stepping away, right?
And then weird, canceled this last interview after that came out.
Yeah, so like
Weird.
Whatever Booker T said or Undertaker, this is all before even that.
Yeah.
This is basically like right around the time they're like selling or not selling, but
the only person in this documentary that was post allegations was Metzler.
I gotta believe Cody Rhodes was after.
Was he?
Well, and Pritchard,
because he came back.
Yeah, Pritchard too. Pritchard
was
he ran
2 days
down
before the lawsuit comes out.
Yeah. So when they talked about like his legacy before all of the stuff came out, right? So before 2022 is when they got all this cap, and especially before 2024, that's I think going to be the biggest thing, is to go back to what some of these said at that point, and then maybe try to get them now, which again, Booker T still works for the company. Undertaker's obviously on a Legend deal, and he's basically still very, very close with the company. So I don't think you're going to see anything from them. I mean, maybe Hulk Hogan, because he needs to try and save face with every way he can right now, So
So one last thing. As this came out, or prior to it coming out, Vince made a statement, and I can't remember who it was that said, "Vince, why don't you just take your fucking money and go away?" Basically, what do you? I mean, to me, that would probably be the smart thing to
Well,
just.
he made $2 billion off of selling his stock in TKO too. Like, yeah, if you're gonna walk away, walk away. You don't need to make a statement on this shit. Dude.
There's no need, no reason for him to try to somehow clear his name or try to make it better, because he can't. It's in everybody's mind at this point.
But he's gonna try.
Yeah,
he's actually supposedly trying to make a response piece to this documentary.
Because that's him.
I heard Kevin Dunn signed on.
Yeah. He's trying to get Dunn to do it.
Oh, seriously? I was actually just fucking around. I was just saying.
No, I think that was the thing. Is that
because Kevin Dunn signed. Yeah, he sold all of his stock. He's out of the company too. So I mean, I guess that wouldn't be too far fetched because Kevin Dunn didn't leave too far after Vince resigning.
Well, and that's the other thing here is like one of the first things I remember seeing in the first episode is when they're like, well, who is Vince McMahon character and who's Vince McMahon the guy? And they ask all the talent, and every one of them, they're like, it's the same guy.
But then they cut to Vince,
you want him to believe. And then they cut to Vince, and he's like, well, it's not the same guy, And then also the whole
robot comment, those computer fucking things
in his head, and then they're like, well, tell us one of the.
Dude, I think he has CT.
And then the whole like, oh, I'm thinking of something really fun. Oh, well, what is it? Tell us. Oh, okay, it's sexual. God damn it, Vince, that ain't gonna help you in the future, bro. That one's coming back to haunt you. Oh, was it? It was debunked today, according to Mike Moore, and that could very well be. I wouldn't put it past him, but here's the other thing though. He's being investigated federally right now. Like the lawsuit's on hold. He's in way more hot water than that fucking lawsuit at this point, and I think he knows it.
It's because it involves if the
allegations,
it's the trafficking. That's the biggest.
He's hanging out. He's going to be hanging out with Diddy very shortly in a jail cell. They're going to be
referencing Diddy for a second time tonight.
They're going to be cellmates, and they're going to talk about how our friend Trump will save us and stuff. And so here's the thing: how do you think Stephanie came off in this? Like overall, because here's the deal: we know she's done a lot for the women's side of things, right? We know she had a big thing with what they do for pediatric cancer and Connor's cure. But also a lot of talk of she's just like her dad.
Well, Tony Atlas said it best at the end there, as far as like Shane's too nice. So, you got a nice boss, you'll get eaten alive, which is probably why Jason Prentice is still the dick that he is. So, sorry. I'll talk about that another time. But there, I can see it. But, they keep going back like, Steph said this stuff about Tyson back in the day. Oh, was he charged? Oh, he was charged with rape at that point. Like, oh, you didn't know that. And and even then, some of the stuff that, like, again, and Whitney brought this up too, like, it's very weird that Steph was just, so kind of calm and nonchalant about that. I mean, she probably would have gone along with the whole she's pregnant and it's Vince's kid thing. Like,
well, okay, so Whitney brings a great point up right here about laughing at the storylines. We all know, it's been said that there was that one time a storyline pitched by Vince McMahon saying he impregnated Stephanie.
Mm-hmm.
They asked her about some of the crazier ones. She didn't want to talk about them. So, and then he goes, and just like it's nothing. And I get it. It's entertainment. It's acting. You're doing a lot of crazy shit. You're making out with Trish Stratus in front of your wife. You're calling yourself the genetic jackhammer. You're doing all this shit. And it's just looking at it now and kind of seeing how he is. It's like, okay, well, that's gross. And then you see the part with Ashley, right?
Yeah.
And those allegations from the tour in Iraq. And then to hear that when she denied his advances, that's when things turned for her on-screen character where he just belittled her every segment. It's just... it's fucking it's insane that this guy does not see no wrong in any of his way.
Well, and yeah, there's a lot of issues with all that stuff. And remember, Stephanie McMahon's big push came after or when she was dating Test, and then Triple H just basically abducted her, married her. Probably, if you really will, they had to consummate that marriage, right? So, I mean, that's again, and then now she's married to this guy, so she's already kind of way too far mentally into this business where it's skewed with her probably own reality. But when she left after Vince came back and she just left, I thought for sure, I was like, I think she's generally fucking pissed at Vince right now. Like, that's the only thing I really thought in that moment when she resigned. I was like, oh, she really does not like, or she probably hates Vince coming back at this point.
I think some of these allegations had to be that that straw on the camel's back. I mean, when you're hearing that he's defecating on girls and that which also weird to note, apparently, I didn't look, but apparently it was said that Brock Lesnar appeared on the WWE roster page today.
Oh, really?
Which a little weird because he's the star that got those pictures and was told, hey, part of the contract is she'll do whatever you want. So hopefully that's not true. Or what I whatever. I don't know. It's weird because we don't know what Brock's reaction was to that. He could have very well been like, yeah, no, I'm good, man. Just pay me all my millions of dollars. Like,
Brock is on the roster page.
He is. Okay. So that happened.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
He won't be back.
I don't think so either. If anything, they may just have like an appearance in 2026. Not even SummerSlam, like maybe like their fan fest that they do.
I don't even think so. I think that unless he comes out of all that shit scot-free with not even a shred of guilt at all, I think if he comes out clean as a whistle, that's the only way that TKO would touch him.
Yeah.
I think the allegations are serious enough where he's going to be caught up in all this shit too for a while.
And they even touched about it as far as like when WWE went public and then having to change your image. TKO is already out there now and they are a publicly traded company. And I'm actually with Whitney on this one. I would love to see some of the responses from Janelle Grant, but I don't think that's going to happen. Just because that's going to be used in court against her. So I guess we'll see some of that later, but
I think it's in the testimony. At least,
I mean, it has to be because they're using his text towards her as evidence, so they're going to have to see all of the text between the two. So, yeah.
But
we'll see it eventually.
I think what she put out, what her team put out, does have her messages on there already for people to view.
They read those text messages on fucking Howard Stern. So yeah, they're out there.
So it's like, I don't know. It's such a convoluted mess on all sides because you can read it and say, man, Vince is a piece of garbage. What a piece of shit. And then you'll have people that say, well, yeah, but she's just upset she didn't get paid. And everyone's going to have opinions on both or all and maybe both sides are absolutely fucking correct. Mm-hmm. Because let's be honest, no matter what you say, no matter if this gal was completely 1,000% violated and she's sticking up for herself, Vince, guilty or not, still a piece of shit.
Yeah. Here's the deal. You know what? I will say this: if she is suing, and people are like, well, she's just doing it because she didn't get the rest of the money she was owed. Okay, but you know what? Even if she is willing to do this for that money and she's suing because she didn't get that money, and okay, fair enough to me, because I'll tell you what, if I was promised something and I let someone shit on me for that and then they didn't come through, well, I'm taking your ass to court.
Yep.
You just shat on me.
Yep.
Like, come on, give me my money.
Here's the other thing, too. When you think about how this is woven in, right? When you think about the fact that, yeah, Brock was that guy and they showed his picture and he was the guy that was getting it. Remember that he's also married to Sable, who was also involved in that shit before, and all of that stuff, and sued Vince and all of it. It all just has this weird kind of to me.
Well, you think some people were speculating after the documentary, is all of it connected? Is Sable and Brock's relationship basically a result of dealings with Vince?
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because I've always thought about how weird that those two got married. And like, what's this?
I think it just depends on how guilty
Yeah.
is. But I think also they live in a world where I think they have their ear to social media a little more than they used to. They being TKO and WWE. I don't see Brock being back in a wrestling ring for WWE. And honestly, at this point, why would you fucking want to?
Yeah, what are you gonna do with him at this point? He's gone. Leave
He
him.
wrestled.
Yeah, I mean,
she came back to work. Like, that was the thing. Some of the shit they brought up, and it's like, was there an issue? I don't recall that. And it's like, motherfucker, you know, like, what do you act like you don't remember this? Like, shut up, bro. Shut up.
Well, here's the thing. Brock doesn't really need to come back. He owns like half of Saskatchewan right now. So, I mean, he can go retire, be a farmer for the fucking rest of his life and probably do pretty well in Canada there. So,
got a steak rub. He's set. All right.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing. He lives in the middle of fucking nowhere. Or if anything, he could probably go back to West or South Dakota and no one would fucking give a shit because he looks like every other fucking farm boy in that part of South Dakota. I'm not gonna lie. He was nothing special when he came out of JUCO and stuff like that. Went to the University of Minnesota, won some national championships, and got fucking swole. So, like, reality is, like, the dude was probably replaceable. And if Gable Steveson could actually just learn a few more things, I'm sure they probably would have just gone the whole Brock route with him and stuff. So,
something they didn't cover in that either that I wish they would have was how, because you guys remember, right? Like, when Stephanie, like, Vince announced he was coming back, right? And then it was, okay, it's for sale, right? And then it broke. And I swear for like 12 hours, it was like a fucking hot thing. But it broke that he was going to sell to Saudi. And then right when that broke is like literally half hour later is when Stephanie resigned. So now it's like, we all know really why that happened. He came back, she resigns. I think they knew at that time allegations were coming. He only came back to do the sale. I think he knew this lawsuit was coming down. I think he knew it was going to bring a lot of heat. I think that's what it took. I think these allegations, and I think some of the stuff he did is what really kind of probably made Stephanie be like, fuck this guy. But I think she was okay with a lot of it until the very end. But almost wonder now if maybe like that was even just him like releasing that, like, but
just a leak distraction.
Just to fucking make people worry about something else other than what was about to come out.
It wouldn't be out of the realm because that's what the business is, right?
And also, do I recall him saying he would have killed his own father for the business?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, because there's that part where Paul Heyman talks about Shane and the creative idea he had that, like, he's handing him a knife. It's like, first of all, I don't think that's not something, if I'm Paul Heyman, I want to share that with anybody. Because you're still getting paid by Vince too. You're still there, like, or, you're still with the company at that point where you're sharing this stuff. It's like, maybe don't talk about the fact that he told his own son that if you want an idea passed so badly, you got to stab me, because we all know that this motherfucker also hired Vince Russo into the business. So don't act that you were better than any fucking creative idea when Vince Russo was your head guy, your head writer during the Attitude Era. Okay. You ain't better than no one. at that point, dude. All right. Now you might have sent him over to WCW. He ruined the whole goddamn thing for you to buy for $2.5 million, which, by the way, is insane. But also, one other thing, Eric Bischoff, you petty motherfucker, saying that you created the heel boss. I'm sorry, that was like a trope of like 30% of all 60s and 70s and 80s sitcoms, man. So don't fucking say you created the heel boss. All right. I mean, yeah, you became part of the NWO well before you probably should have, as far as a swerve goes, but don't. No.
So I want to touch on that quick too, Tom. So being a apprentice, I know a little bit about Southern wrestling a little bit. And people don't know that Vince was already Mr. McMahon in like 93, 94, well before the Brett screw job happens and well before Austin and him. Because at the time in Memphis, Jerry Lawler, while he's a bad guy on TV for WWE, he's in Memphis and he's the king. Everyone loves their king. And Vince is on Memphis television talking smack to Lawler, and he's sending guys down. And my uncle got to manage the guys Vince would send down. So my uncle got to manage Owen Hart, Bret Hart, Papa Shango, Giant Gonzalez, as all these guys were facing off against Jerry. And I forget who the last guy was. I wanted to say Von Erich. I think it was Jarrett. I think it was Jeff Jarrett. They wrestled at the big arena over there in Memphis. I can't think of it, but they wrestled and Vince managed Jarrett in that final clash. But Vince was doing promos on Memphis television for USWA as basically as Mr. McMahon. So yeah, Bischoff saying, "Oh, I created that." Well, if we're gonna check the tapes, let's check the tapes.
Well, there's also the idea that, when they did even mention in episode 5 there with Screwjob, right? So they started off with the Wendy Richter stuff, and Vince was on commentary that night. So he already was in defense mode in that match, having to explain or whatever, if questions arose, he was already ready to go at that point. You could tell the demeanor of his speech patterns and stuff like that, how he was calling that match and stuff like that.
Which
if you haven't ever seen it, the Whitney Richter versus it's the Black Widow or Black Spider or Lady Spider or whatever, Mrs. Spider, whatever the fuck they put blue under her mask, and that's how they screwed her. It's like clearly there's a shoulder up and all that sort of stuff. Oh, speaking of screw jobs, Brett Jordan's here, everybody. Give it up.
What, he screwed you?
No, I'm just saying.
Did you like it?
I mean,
how many bottles of baby oil did you use?
Dude, why you gotta be like this? Also, it's Team Top Shelf, man. So
I heard there's no party like a top shelf party. Isn't that the same thing?
I mean, there is nothing like a top shelf party because the top shelf party just don't stop.
It's like the whole room's a slip.
Bryce Jordan, everybody. Woo! Give it up, by the way. Bryce Jordan now going to be there this week in Algona, next week in Waterloo.
Well, it's only right.
House Wrestling.
It's only right
there in Rochester.
You're gonna sit here and wait. Is what he's gonna do.
Yeah, he gets to hang out and wait.
He's gonna wait
show to find out who the opponent is. Final thought, everybody, on the McMahon.
That's right, Victor
documentary. I will tell you this. I enjoy it. What's up, Mr. Nella? I enjoyed it just because, it's always nice to see wrestling in mainstream, I think, but also really
it's Team Top Shelf. She knows it.
Yeah, no. I think people are just being nice to you, honestly.
Whatever.
It's bad because you were talking about your depression.
Shoot, Nerd D so badly didn't want to be Top Shelf, he canceled coming to the show because of you. So, DJ Peps, what's up, brother? Yeah, man, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching Vince basically, lie and be a fucking creeper and be a crazy old man. He looked evil. Can I just say that with the fucking dyed eyebrows and shit? Like, he looked like an old tie. Like, he looked like he was about to tie some fucking poor girl to a train track.
You look like Snidely fucking Whiplash.
Yes, that's a good reference. Both solid references right there. I was gonna say the way they shot this with the lighting and everything like that too. it's very ominous. Like, and also he's leaning forward most of the time, and he doesn't have the same muscle mass. You could tell he's starting to get a little, he can't probably work out as much. But I'm like, this is not the way to shoot a man if you're trying to be sympathetic. So I think this whole thing was being shot in a way of like, this guy done some shit. Like, Gomez Adams, yeah,
with
like an evil Gomez Adams, like
oh yeah,
Hornez Adams or what? I don't know what a fucking terrible name for Gomez is, but what's evil Gomez?
Mick.
So let me just say this: we have a new segment. We don't have an intro for it yet. We will, but let's do this. It's time for This Week in Wrestling History.
Oh, you guys are going to love this one. This is one of my favorites. Bam! That's right. 36 years ago today, Akeem,
cultural appropriation happened.
Dream, made his debut on WWE Superstars. The repackaged one-man gang was managed by the one and only Slick. Slick don't get enough respect, people. Slick was the fucking man. And you look at it now and it's super offensive, but back then it was the funniest fucking thing in the world, watching this man think he was a black man. Yeah.
Top shelf matchup right there, bros.
You get Akeem, the African Dream, baby. That's who you get at Madhouse, November 9th. That is your day in pro wrestling history. If you don't know who he is, guys, get on Peacock, pull up some old school shit, and watch Akeem.
Prentice is doing it. Prentice is doing that. Prentice is doing a dream.
Well, hey, Timmy Nudd, do you not know your wrestling history? Do you not know Akeem, the African Dream, the former one-man gang,
dude.
turned into the most cultural appropriation of all time?
Man, I could see Big Picture pulling off a great Akeem for like Halloween or something.
What would be great is if he was Akeem and somebody else was one man gang.
Oh boy! Ooh,
I call them the two.
We got some planning to do, boys. That should just be a marquee match. Fucking cosplay, baby. The one man gang takes on Akeem. African Dream.
Yeah.
Why is no one doing a Halloween show this year? You fucks. I mean, the closest we got is Rochester. That's over a week out from.
Hello. This technically, I think, is our Halloween show.
No.
Is there?
It is, but it's not. But it is.
I mean, you put a pumpkin at the bottom of that poster there,
but there's a spider web. If you look at the poster, there's a spooky little spider behind Matt.
Behind the cage, and behind all these guys is almost indistinguishable faces.
Yeah.
Spider's better looking than Maddie.
Oof, that's rough.
All
right, Dale Whitney, come on.
He put hands on me in the ring, and you did nothing. What?
I take a phone call.
JR's doing more business. The show's not over yet.
You better mute yourself then. Gotta mute him just in case.
Sable, Whitney, you're gonna pull.
I like that he needs his glasses to talk on the phone.
He's trying to make sure. There's also a scroll in case he can't hear them correctly. He's got all the technology there on his jitterbug phone.
Jitterbug. Well, hang on though. This could be. It says, "I'm going to be the greatest pro wrestler ever this year." Bryce Jordan,
the Golden God, Bryce Jordan, top shelf.
Could be
all the way.
The APW.
Ooh, JR. Whitney's coming after you now.
I love that Whitney's in the chat just right now. Like,
Whitney, do you feel good attacking a senior citizen?
She should. Yeah. It's deserved.
Who shows nothing but love towards you? There's 6 Halloween shows in a barn.
Well, hey. Well, all right, Mouse. I said a good Halloween show. Can we get a good Halloween show? She does feel good about making fun of JR. Hell yeah.
I love it.
Where we at, gang?
Whitney's just making fun of you that you didn't actually take a phone call from anybody. No one's calling you.
Here's the deal. I don't give a fuck about any of y'all.
Well, let me hang on.
Malice is here.
Malice is here.
And if
I think
Bryce is here, that's all I need.
We still got Mr. Prentice. But hang on, before we make the announcement, though, I want to know. I want to get into the psyche of John Russell, right? Because
hell yeah, Whitney.
We've been. So you're feeling extra douchey tonight, Whitney. That's what
hey,
get it out, Whitney. Get it out now before you come on next week.
You respect the fourth member of the.
We all know, come next week, you two are going to end up fighting over something.
No. We don't fight. We don't fight. We have words.
Oh, sorry. Whitney just wins. Again, we're going to go back to. Well, we'll go back to Now, here's the deal.
You also didn't need to celebrate like you're a small child there, Ace.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on. Well, and also I was hanging out with the whole front row of kids.
You're right, Whitney. You will.
The most cringeworthy thing in that video is Tom's trousers.
Why? You can't stand how tight they were? Accentuating that cake that I got back there? Don't worry about it, JR. Don't worry about it.
It's not a cake.
She said she is.
Speaking of cake, by the way, Malice, Whitney says she's going to be there, so we got to get the kid in the wheelchair and the cake.
We'll see. So here's the deal. That right there has caused a bunch of shit, and then we throw Mr. Tim Nella into the equation and spearing Bryce and making Tom cry like the little girl he is. And
I didn't cry.
Your eyes were watery.
I mean, it kind of looked like you cried.
Listen, I asked for a beer to ice down my nuts, and then
that looks like you're crying. That really looks like you're crying.
I'm pissed off at Tim for betraying us.
Anyways, this has now started this whole thing, and we're like a year and a half into this feud with Golden God and JR.
Golden Weasel.
Whatever it be. Golden God, Golden Weasel, Bryce Jordan. And it's just I think we need resolution. Christ.
Got him. Book it right now. Get the kid, the wheelchair, the disabled kid, and the cake. Let's do it. Book it right now.
Anyways, I don't even know what I was going to say. JR, I want to know what has gone into your decision making as far as this match, because we need a resolution. This feud has to end. Me and Shank are kind of on the same page. We would love to see everybody just shake hands, say it was a good time, and be cool and move on.
Ace, you know you're part of the problem.
I'm not part of the problem. I would even welcome you, Tom, if you just weren't always so cocky.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
The top shelf crew.
Ace, you know this. You know this, and I don't want to belabor the point. I thought we were over it 2 years ago.
This is true.
And then and it's this asshole up in the corner here that's been continually harping and feeding. But anyway,
fuck, you drag this out more than a Jason Prentice answer. Would you fucking get on with it?
You know, this is what we do here in the Lou. We put on bangers, and then we have a banger afterwards. Get a few brewskis going. But top shelf life. But JR did say he was gonna get me a drink. Like,
I don't like you old man.
I think we put everything past us. I really do. I mean,
I hope so for the sake of the show and all the shows.
Yes, exactly. I mean,
hey guys, how's it going?
There he is.
So I don't know if you know that we put everything behind us. Here's a drink. Nice to see you, my friend.
Put it down.
Yeah, why don't you guys
hug it out again?
Oh yeah, okay.
Hug it out again. I mean, I'm getting a big
First of all, that was one hell of a thud.
We're on the second floor.
Yeah, really good job with that, Jared. Great drop. Yeah, and I get it. Yeah, that sucks. I get that, Jared. That
bullshit.
Very nice of him.
All I can say is this.
Here's the thing. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, what went into?
I want to say because I know you've asked, and Tom, shut the fuck up. Just mute Tom, will you?
I didn't say a word.
I can't
You're
mute
going to. You're going to, though.
I can't mute him pointing.
So I thought about this, and I thought to myself, who would be the best person to exact revenge on Bryce Jordan? And I thought, and given the fact that Malice said I could pick anybody, anybody. I made a few calls.
I don't want you to announce it yet, though.
I know, but I thought to myself, I could pick a legend, but I don't know if Bryce Jordan is worthy of having a legend come and kick his ass in front of people.
Mm-hmm.
I thought there are a lot of badasses in the Midwest. I thought I could get 100% badass, somebody that is a scary monster.
Ooh.
And then I kind of thought, well, the kids have been on my side, chanting against the Golden Weasel, so I don't want to scare the kids. So anyway, I have come to a decision. The phone call that I just
now here, do me a favor. I want you to text me who you picked before we announce. Right. I want to take a look. Don't send it to Tom. Just send it, because here's the deal. I already know that Tom's going to be out there with Bryce. Tom needs to be just as worried about this too, because if he gets in the way by accident, because by accident, I want to know what Tom gets to deal with. That's because Tom. What if it is Darren Corbin? Are you going to get in the way? Your ginger brother.
Yeah, well, he's your ginger brother too.
I love
we're not all of a sudden the same hair color here, okay, brother? Okay, all right. Team Fancy Ketchup still lives a little bit, or Team Red Pandas, whatever we want to call ourselves. But if it's Darren Corbin, I mean, he's already booked for the show too. So I don't know. Maybe maybe JR and Malice have already been talking about. Hey, well, maybe we could have him against Darren Corbin.
No. I'll be honest with you. Malice and Luke told me I could pick anybody. They did not give me any restriction. They did not tell me it had to be somebody that's already on the show. They did not tell me it had to be somebody that's not on the show. They didn't. They said I could pick anybody. If I wanted to pick Tim Walls to come and wrestle Bryce Jordan's, I could do that.
Well, he's busy tonight, so okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you one thing, Tom, before we let JR make this announcement. Yes, we do all know each other. I almost would recommend, Tom, stay backstage. I wouldn't even come out to the ring that night with Bryce.
Whatever, dude.
No. Take my advice.
One scares me. No one is better than the top shelf. The Golden God has this 100%. It doesn't matter who JR has picked, okay? It doesn't matter any of this stuff, okay? It doesn't matter, because Bryce Jordan is now and forever the Golden God,
Weasel,
top shelf all the way. He's an OG Team Top Shelf member. He always will be Team Top Shelf. All right? I'm putting that out there right now.
Well, okay, guys. Here it is. We're going to get ready to wrap the show up. Before we do that, before we get into what we all have going on this coming week, because three of us got a busy weekend ahead, it's time. You all waited. We teased this last week. We've talked about it for the last 10 minutes now. I hope Tom gets in his way. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to put it out right now. I hope to God you get in his way, because I will laugh watching this happen. But, Mr. Russell, the floor is yours. Who are we going to see go one-on-one November 9th with the Golden God, Bryce Jordan?
Golden Weasel. I have chosen someone who is super popular already in Rochester. He feels like family to many folks, maybe even an uncle. Yes, I have chosen Uncle T, none other than the great champion Solomon Tupu.
What I love is, first of all, that doesn't even look like Tom in the poster. That guy looked handsome. Second of all, and skinnier. Second of all, there's just no fucking way, Tom, you could ever put your hands on Tupu. So again, I recommend you stay backstage. You've been in the same rooms with this man. Uncle T ain't taking your bullshit one fucking second. So I would highly suggest you warn your client there what he has in store, because he's got his hands full. The Madhouse Grand Prix. You guys realize Grand Prix champ. This man has a title shot just fucking waiting for him, and he's going to take care of JR's bidding.
Whatever.
November 9th.
No. Let this be known. Let this be stated right now. If Solomon Tupu's getting in that ring with the Golden God Bryce Jordan, then that title's on the line. And you know what's going to happen? Bryce is going to take that title. He's going to use it to take the other title. So, Solomon, watch your back.
Well,
first of all,
Tom doesn't get to make title matches, so this is a non-title match.
What? Hold on. No, I thought every time that whoever holds that Extreme Grand Prix steps in the ring, they got to put on the line, right? That's the rules that Madhouse made. I didn't make this damn rule.
I don't even know, because no one's done it.
So that means the title's on the line, right?
But
Mouse is in the chat. Mouse, confirm it.
What are you worried about, Tom? You just said nothing mattered, and now you act like everything matters.
Tom,
right there.
Listen,
I win the title.
Tom,
Bryce wins that title. He used it on Gable, or Lord knows Tim Nell doesn't want to actually one-on-one with the Golden God either, okay?
Tom.
What?
From somebody who has managed Bryce Jordan in the past, if you need a few tips on how to stay golden and how to make him a winner, I know a thing or two, because I see these two old fucks stirring pots with our boy, our mutual amigo. And while you may not like me and I may not like you, I am a fan
not all the time,
of Bryce Jordan, and I see the collusion, if you will.
I see it too.
Management over there, and
okay. For the record,
we'll have a good discussion this next week here. Then, Jason,
for the record, and yes, I did just mute Tom because I was talking before him, and he doesn't know how to stop talking on people.
Don't you ever mute?
I am not downing the.
You rude bastard! You're muted now too, Ace. How does that feel?
And I think that this is going to be a huge opportunity for Bryce to get very far in the Madhouse roster and the fucking hierarchy there with the titles. So I think this is going to be one hell of a match. I don't know if Bryce has had anybody in the ring the likes of Solomon Tupu, but I'm not sure Tupu has also been in the ring with the likes of the Golden God.
Yeah, I mean, Bryce.
That said, again, Bryce, I would suggest highly, take Jason Prentice advice there, Thomas. And then second of all, Bryce, I would highly suggest you find someone who can actually help you that night. Because, again, I've seen Tom around Solomon. It ain't going to work out for you, Will, because I know he ain't going to put a finger on sight. He's going to run the other way as soon as Tupu looks at him. So, Bryce, I would find reinforcements that are not top shelf, because top shelf is going to run. And, good luck to you. And who knows, maybe this is your way to become a Madhouse champion. I don't know. This is going to be one hell of a match. Get your tickets, guys, November 9th, and that's at Rochester at the historic Chateau Theater. And boy, is it going to be a night. But
that's right. We win those
titles. Big thing right now, though, isn't even that. The big thing right now is Bryce has to survive this Saturday night in Algona, Iowa, at Absolute Pro Wrestling Rage in the Cage. So
don't hurt yourself.
Bryce has a lot of time to worry about November 9th, and it ain't right now. Right now, the focus.
We're taking this ugly match on Saturday as a warm up, and then whoever wins in this title match between the Death Dealer and Aaron Von Baron, whatever, we'll see you the week after in Waterloo, and we'll take that title right up to Madhouse, and we're going to show Madhouse exactly what it is that Bryce has. He's got that top shelf life. He's on Team Top Shelf, but more importantly, he is the only wrestling god in Iowa and throughout the Midwest. Okay, he's the golden god for a reason. You all are just making these statements thinking that I can't back the man up. Solomon Tupu ain't got nothing on me. Whatever.
Motherfucker, you don't compare to Uncle T. You can't compare to Uncle T,
How
baby.
dare you? How
That
dare
motherfucker
you?
stands on any top shelf that's in front of him. He's Uncle T. He's a fuck, man.
Tom,
I'm just saying.
you had me until that statement, Tom. Oh, boy.
What? Solomon Tupu ain't got nothing on me because, yeah, we've been in the same room together.
First of all, you barking up the wrong road now because you don't want to piss off the whole entire hate keepers and have the whole group after you.
You and Uncle T breathe the same air.
No, I don't care.
Anyways,
I got a whole team behind me. Okay, and by the way, get this graphic off the screen.
No, because we're trying to promote a show. So Saturday night, Mr. Prentice, join us for the action. It's brought to you by Kook Scrap Iron and Metal. We can't wait to be there. I can't wait to be back at the Kasuth County Fairgrounds in that Floral Hall building. It's a lot of fun. So make sure you get out there. Hey, take her easy, buddy. 2 a.m. does come early.
Mike, early. It's 6 o'clock pool time. He'll know what that's about. He knows what it's about.
And then the week after, we go to Waterloo, Iowa for October 12th. We got a steel cage matches. We got the 4-man. Am I right? Or am I mixing this up? Yes, the 4-man. We got the 4-way, and then we've got Cold Cannon taking on the bot. And I'm going to tell you this, Tom. I don't know if you've seen it, but a couple of the previous shows we've been doing, I've seen Mr. Prentice working out because he's been getting in shape and he's taking care of himself and doing all this good stuff. And I'm just saying, I think Boss is ready for a fight.
Sure. I mean, Prentice, I hope you don't die. Mostly because as much as I love Shank, he can't run the business by himself. So I need you to make sure that you survive, because I'm pretty sure Shank would just take all the money from the shows and gamble it away. That's the only way I show up, is if I get paid. So, all right.
Just like Bryce Jordan's going to survive Tupu, I'm going to survive Cold Cannon.
There you go. That's what I love to hear. So can't wait to see you on Saturday. We can get along for a day or two. So,
I'd say hours, maybe not a full day. Hours.
They're a week separate.
Like a 5-hour period. You guys are good. Any more than that, I think you might kill each other. But guys, don't miss out. Absolute Pro Wrestling. Here's the deal. We're pretty fortunate that we get to be involved with some of the best companies around in the Midwest. And that's something the 2 Count's very proud of. And these companies are the likes of Absolute Pro Wrestling, are the likes of Madhouse Wrestling, are the likes with our friends that are in First Wrestling. All these things that we get to see and be a part of and know the people on the inside. We're very blessed here at the 2 Count. And we don't want to let that be lost on any of us when we're being just fucking fools on this show and for your entertainment. So we are excited, Tom and I, to be a part of this and to be down there with you guys. The first time ever Absolute is bringing the steel in and surrounding that cage, or that ring with the cage. We're very excited. 2 weeks in a row, we're being fucking spoiled. So as a fan perspective,
Austin Bales again too.
Yeah, and it's always a pleasure to see Mr. Bayless, Mr. TS the Aggressor, all these people. It's a fucking blessing. So join us this weekend if you're in Algona. If you are in Waterloo, get your tickets and join us there. If you are in the Rochester area, mark your calendars. November 8th and 9th, it is a Madhouse 2 Count takeover weekend, starting with these knuckleheads doing what they do for y'all. Friday, November 8th, Townies at Soldiers Field location here in Rochester, $10 cover. You're going to see D'Angelo Funches, Top Shelf Tom Chilstrom, and headlining it all, JR, doing some comedy, and me and Tim Nella will be your hosts for that evening. And then we will move into the next night, and I don't have it. So what we'll do is just play this graphic one more time. But yeah, No Mixer, November 9th, the historic Chateau Theater in Rochester, Minnesota. We got all sorts of great stuff planned. Obviously, Tim Nella, Gable Galileo for the title in a Rochester street fight. Gonna be pretty amazing. We got the new guys taking on the Hale Twins for the titles as well. Very excited to see the new guys first time coming to Madhouse, so we're excited for that one. yeah, some crazy good wrestling going on this fall, guys, in the Midwest. Make sure you're a part of it. So, Mr. Prentice, always a pleasure. I can't wait to see you on Saturday and be back in Algona and have some fun with the Absolute fam.
Yep, ready to get to Algona, ready for you guys to be a part of this historic Floral Hall show. We got one more Algona show for the year. That'll be back at the VFW, and we got a pretty big announcement for that show.
Which, by the way, it's going to be so cool to go back there after we haven't been there for a while.
Yeah, very cool, and they're looking forward to that event as well. And then this week and next are two very important weeks for me. Just completing the training, and then hopefully walking out with a win. My first win in the state of Iowa. I've never won a match in the state of Iowa. Minnesota, Wisconsin, never lost. 3-0 up over that way, but hopefully we can do it in the home state, and hopefully we can send a message.
Hey, your time is now.
Damn right.
Ugh. Whitney, you're the best. Jason Prentice, thank you again. Everybody who commented, except for Tim Nella and Mid-Level and Dummy Dan, y'all are the best.
We love you all. Tom and JR, do you guys have anything going on this week? Well, Tom, you'll be with us at Absolute. JR, do you got anything to promote?
I have nothing to promote, but unless you want to have training on televisions.
No,
I just want to say,
oh God, wrap it up.
Fuck off, idiot. I just want to say thank you to all of you that have been watching, whether you're watching on
I was wondering.
Twitch, whether you're watching on Twitter, whether you're watching on X. And just a reminder that next week, you saw her in chat. You'll see her back here with us next week. Whitney McAllister will be here. So once again,
there's her back.
Yes.
Well,
thank you guys so much for watching. Bye-bye.